Okay, so we are almost on Hadith 280. So we are almost like 75% of through this book already, inshallah. Who remembers what chapter we're going on? We've been going through this chapter for the past 5 weeks almost. Anyone know? What chapter are we going through right now? The worship and devotion of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so that is chapter 40 we are going through right now. So we've gone through 260, now we're near 280 at the moment. Chapter 40 we're going through, which is the worship and devotion of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you want to, you can go through this book as well from this link, inshallah. And as we say as well, this chapter is not about his the obligatory ibadah, rather the optional ibadah, and his devotion, his concern for every word of the Quran, all of the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He tried to implement them, everything in his life, and he did obviously the best any man could ever do. And he did the best to be from the minority, which is وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ. Very few of the people, the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will be grateful to him. We're going to go through, it'll be kind of a short session. We normally finish about 8:30 anyway, so it won't be too long inshallah. We went through hadith number 260, which that was mentioned quite a few times in this chapter, which spoke about Aisha radiallahu anha, about what portions of the night did Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam pray the tahajjud prayer. So hadith number, you know what, am I even on the right document, or have I got last week's open right now? Let me see. Let me just make sure if I have the right one. Okay. No, you know what, subhanAllah, I've got the wrong document open. I'm going through last week's chapter. So there you go. So that's 40. Close that one. Sorry, forgive me guys. Okay, this is it now. Okay, much better. So hadith number 274. That is what we went through. No, that's what we are on right now. Okay, so which is by Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him. He says, Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman performed the prayer with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam during the night. And he said, when he entered into the prayer, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so when he entered into the prayer, let me see if I can actually, no, that's not going to be here. Okay, let's leave it on here, inshallah. So when he entered into the prayer, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what he would say is, first he would say, Allahu Akbar, Dhul Malakut wal Jabarut wal Kibriyai Adhamma. So he would make extra adhkar. So entering into this salah as well. So that's one of the sunnahs that we need to bring into our salah as well. That it's not just Allahu Akbar. Can someone tell me what else can you say? Once you say the first takbir, entering into salah, what other dua can you say? Anyone tell me what can you say? What's the extra that you can say? Before you go into Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika wa tabaraka ismuk, before that, what do you say? Straight after the takbir. Any extra additional dua or any extra additional dhikr that you can say? I'm hearing people whispering. You guys do it. Talk to me. Tell me anything. Anyone. So one of them you can say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar Kabira. You can say that 3 or 4 times. That's one you can say as well. So you know what guys, we should get into the Hisnul Muslim. If you look at that book, there's so many things, so many adhkar that you can make before you go on to the Fatiha. So many you can say. So like here, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made some extra adhkar. Now here, this is the optional prayer. Again, this is his night prayer. So in this, after making the additional adhkar, what he did is, then he recited Surah Al-Baqarah. That's what he recited in the first raka'ah. That's what he recited. Then he bowed down. And it says, as in this hadith, he bowed approximately for as long as he had stood up. So for the same amount of time. So roughly you're looking at maybe it would take him an hour, 20 minutes. That's what it would take him. He stood for the same similar amount of time in his ruku as well. Then he says, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Can anyone tell me other additional du'as you can make in your ruku? Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, that's one, normal one, we all say that. What else can you say in your ruku? Wa bihamdi, exactly, yeah. What else can you say? Yeah, go for it. La, no, don't say that, that's wrong, don't say that. What else can you say? What other afkar can you make? Subbuh al-Quddus Rabbul Malaikati wal Ruh, that you can say. So there's so many extra afkar. Guys, we need to look at that book, inshallah, Hisnul Muslim, and try to learn. There's so many additional du'as that you can make. Okay, so he said Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, then he made extra additional afkar, so many of them. He was down in the ruku position for an hour. Similar amount of time that it takes you to recite Surah Baqarah. So he's making so many afkar for that. Then after that, Sami Allahu liman hamida, we normally say Rabbana wa lakal hamd. What else can you say after that? Exactly. Hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. There's so many du'as even then you can make, right? But what does Prophet Muhammad do here? He says, Sami Allahu liman hamida. Then he said, Li Rabbi alhamd. Li Rabbi alhamd. Li Rabbi alhamd. He said that twice. To my Lord belongs the praise. So, like we say, normally you would say, Rabbana wa lakal hamd. I asked you guys this before, Sami Allahu liman hamida. What does this mean? I asked you guys this a couple of weeks ago. Who can tell me? Sami Allahu liman hamida. What does that mean?
Person who praised him.
Exactly. Jazakumullah khair. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Sami' Allah liman hamida. Hamd. So whoever makes the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listen to him. Rabbana wa lakal hamd. What are you doing in response to that? You're praising him because we want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to listen to us. That's what it means. So then he prostrated, then he went in the sajda position, right? For approximately, for as long as he stood up straight in the same time. Then he says, Subhana Rabbi al-Ala. He says, Subhana Rabbi al-Ala, and he made so many additional du'as as well. Give me some additional du'as you can make in your sujood. Any. What du'a can you make in your sujood? Any du'as. Come on, guys. Okay, what du'as can you make? You don't have to give me specific from Sunnah. Tell me something that you can do in your sujood. You all know the answer. Any dua, except for
you can't read in Quran.
Jazakumullah khair. Exactly. From the Quran you can't recite, but any other dua. What's the difference from, there's difference of opinions in the fard and the optional prayers. What's the difference? Anyone know? Tell me, you all do know. What can you do in fard? No, what can you do in the optional prayer that you can't do in the fard? Yeah?
You can't do your own language.
Jazakumullah khair. Exactly. Jazakumullah khair. So in the fard prayer, you can only make dua in Arabic. That's the majority opinion. Some scholars have different opinion as well, but majority opinion is that in the fard salah, in sujood, you cannot make dua in your own language. But in the optional prayers, any optional prayers, you can. So he went in the prostration position for as long as he stood up straight. During the pause, during the two sujood, what dua did he make? As it says in this hadith, it's good, I don't have it here. Jazakumullah khair. Exactly. From the Hanbali opinion, this is one of the wajibat. In the Hanbali opinion, this is one of the wajibat. Where did he get it from? From the hadith of the man who prayed badly. We all know that, right? There was someone praying in the masjid and Prophet ﷺ corrected him. And when he prayed, he went, prayed again, come back, prayed again, come back. And then Prophet ﷺ corrected him. He said, I don't know, you tell me. Then Prophet ﷺ, that hadith, all the hadith, everything that Prophet ﷺ mentioned became the arkan and wajibat. Became the arkan and the wajibat. So he said, Rabbi ighfirli, my Lord forgive me, my Lord forgive me. Until then, after that, so he did that as well, for the same length as well. Then after that, he recited Surah Al-Imran, and he recited Surah Al-Nisa, and Al-Ma'idah, or Surah Al-An'am. So there's some scholars who had different opinions. They are unsure of the last one. It was either Ma'idah or Al-An'am. Now again, guys, this is the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, this is how he prayed. His optional prayer. This was his tahajjud prayer. Like, subhanAllah, recited Surah Baqarah, Surah Nisa, everything. And how long he made his salah during the night. It's all about salah, guys. Our whole Islam is about salah. This is the one thing, before everything else, you need to get right. You have to get right. Because if your salah is not correct, then, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on us. Because on that day, salah is the first thing that is going to be questioned. Now, see, we went through hadith number 275 as well, which was about the reciting of the one single ayah. Remember, we spent quite a bit of time on that, and that was repeated on 266 and 267 as well. 278 was about the hadith where Prophet ﷺ would pray sitting down as well, and he would stand up for the last 30 or 40 ayahs. So when he's making the tahajjud salah, he could be, because optional prayers you can pray sitting down as well, and his salah obviously would be so long. For the last 30 or 40 ayahs, he would then stand up. Hadith number 279. I gotta have this here. Where is it? So this is by. Okay, no, let me keep this here. I'll come on to that. Hadith number 279 by Abdullah ibn Shaqiq. He said, I asked Aisha radiallahu anha about the voluntary ritual prayers, his tahajjud prayer of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she said, he used to spend a long night performing his prayer while standing, and a long night while sitting as well. And if he recited from the Quran while standing, he would bow and prostrate from a standing position. And if he recited while in the sitting position, as we mentioned in the last hadith, he would bow and prostrate from a sitting position as well. But as we said as well, sometimes he could stand up. So you are allowed to make the ruku and sujood in the sitting position as well. Or you can stand up and then carry on and make the ruku and sujood as well. Hadith number 280. We're going to try to go through as many ahadith as we can, because we still got more than, I think, about 8 ahadith left here. So Hafsa radiallahu anha, she was also the wife of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whose daughter was she? Exactly, Umar bin Khattab. So she said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to perform his night prayer sitting down, and he would recite the surah and pronounce it slowly. Now look at this. He would recite a surah and pronounce it as if recitation was slow than normal, and it would seem to be longer than the actual longer surah. Do you guys understand what I mean, right? So his recitation, sometimes he would make the recitation really long. What's the name for that recitation? Begins with T. Tartil. Like, who's the most famous reciter? Who did it in Tartil? From Egypt? Abdul Basit. So that's Tartil. So that proves to us, some people say, no, you shouldn't be melodized like, in that tone, you shouldn't be, it's not from the Sunnah. We got hadith here. The Prophet ﷺ, sometimes the short surahs as well, he would recite them in a way, he would make them long. Now longer, and it would seem as though they are longer than the actual long surahs. It could even be that he would repeat sometimes some of the ayahs again and again. You're allowed to do that. How do we know? The hadith we went through on our last halaqah, that he recited one single ayah the entire night in every rak'ah. So you can do that. Sometimes when you feel an ayah and you feel what's actually been spoken about, or it could be anything, guys. Now if you come across an ayah and it actually mentions that it reminds you that you know what, this is related to a sin that are committed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking in that ayah that those who commit those sins, He's going to forgive them, or how they turn to repentance, or whatever, anything like that. You could, if you feel it, in the salah, you're making tadabbur in your heart. You're pondering over the ayah in your heart. You're allowed to do that. Your heart is doing it, right? So you can recite the same ayah again and again. It could link to you anyhow. So if you want to do that, you can do that, inshallah. There's many different ways of reciting, so this is one of the ways. The tartil way is one of the ways of reciting. Hadith number 281. You know what, I think I probably even have the wrong PowerPoint up as well, because I can't see the actual PowerPoint that I should make for the khair, inshallah. But let's go through what we are going through, inshallah, right? So, Hadith number 281, again by Aisha radiallahu anha, who said, by the time, now look at this, by the time the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam died, so when he was close to his last days, so when he was in his older age, he was performing salah, most of his prayers, in a sitting position, even the fard salah as well. He was reciting and praying them in a sitting position. He would even lead. So this is one thing Imam is even allowed to do. Imam can be sitting down and leading. Of course, Prophet Muhammad said, who else is going to be his Imam? We know from the narration that Abu Bakr Siddiq, Prophet on his last couple of days, that Abu Bakr Siddiq was leading because he could have come out of the house, and when he felt that Prophet Muhammad has come out, he's come close, he moved back. And Prophet Muhammad went forward. So even the Imam can actually be sitting down and he can lead as well. So if you're in pain, you could be 15, 16-year-old even, but if you are in pain and you need to sit down, you are allowed to. And that does not decrease your reward. That does not decrease your reward. Hadith number 282. Ibn Umar, what's his first name? Everyone knows it. Say it louder. Abdullah ibn Umar. Every time in the hadith, if it is said Ibn Umar, it is Abdullah. Okay? And if it is said Ibn As, who is it? Jazakumullah khair. So there's some names which are just known to be like, you could just say Ibn, the father's name, and it's just known that this is who it is. In this hadith, Ibn Umar, he said that I performed 2 units of prayer with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam before the noon prayer, Dhuhr Salah, and then 2 units after it, right? And 2 units after the Maghrib prayer, at home, as it says in this hadith, fi baytihi, right? So the Sunnah prayers, fi baytihi, they pray the Sunnah prayers at home, and then 2 units after the Isha prayer. And we know from multiple ahadith 2 sunnahs before the Fajr as well. I'm going to just move forward because a lot of these ahadith that are coming now are related to the same topic. I'm just going to mention the ahadith, then we go through it inshallah. Hadith number 283, again by Ibn Umar, who said that Hafsa radiallahu anha, she said that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to perform 2 units of prayer when the dawn was rising, as in when Fajr came in and the Mu'adhin called the Adhan. And Ayub said, I think he described the 2 prayer units as abbreviated. So what he would do, he would pray the Sunnah prayers very short. So they were kind of... Now, you know what, see, this is one thing we have to actually be careful of. Now, when it is said, the Sunnah prayers, we all know that he actually made them really short. But when it says swift or short or fast or whatever, fast in a way, it was never that he hastened his actions as in go straight down, up, down, just like that. No, it was never like that. Rather, the recitation was a bit short. The recitation, because one of the arkan of almost every madhab is that you have to have sukoon in every position, right? That's one of the arkan. Without that, your salah is not valid. Sunnah, nafil, fard, whatever. That is one of the arkan for every prayer. just like Fatiha, the sukoon that you gotta have in every position. So, if the Fajr prayer, he did pray it like swiftly, it did not mean that his action, his movements were very fast. Rather, the recitation was smooth. Hadith number 285. Abdullah ibn Shaqiq, he said, I asked Aisha radiallahu anha about Prophet Muhammad's tahajjud prayer, and she said, no, sorry, not the tahajjud prayer. He asked about his prayers, as in optional prayers. And she said, he used to perform 2 units of prayer before Dhuhr and 2 units after it. 2 cycles after the Maghrib prayer and 2 cycles after the Isha prayer, and 2 before the Fajr prayer. So from this we actually get to see what are these sunnahs called? What's the name for them? Sunnah
Al-Muhammadiyyah.
Sunnah Mu'akkada, there's another name. There's quite a few names for this actually. Sunnah Mu'akkada, Sunnah Rawatib, and there's quite a few as well. So some say, so Maliki, Shafi'i and Hanbali say there are 10. Only the Hanafis say there are 12. Because the ones before Dhuhr, the Hanafis say, and they also take the authentic hadith, in which Prophet Muhammad did pray 4 before Dhuhr. But how do you reconcile that? That's what you gotta look at. Whenever you hear 2 different ahadith, and it happens in a lot of areas of Islam, whenever you hear 2 different narrations, ahadith or something, even if you hear the ayah of the Quran, and you're hearing something, you might think it contradicts, but it never contradicts ever. There's always a reconciliation. So from these 2 ahadith, the way it is yes, he prayed sometimes, he prayed 4 before Dhuhr, but generally the norm was that he prayed 2. As we are seeing from so many ahadith in this book as well, that he prayed 2 before Dhuhr, so that was a norm. 2 after Dhuhr, 2 before Fajr, 2 after Maghrib, and 2 after Isha. So that makes it 10. Now, yeah, Bismillah.
Just a quick point on that.
Yes.
From what I heard, that most of the hadith that you quoted is from Aisha radiallahu anha.
Yes.
Because she was at home. But when he used to go to the Masjid, he used to recite 4 rakats. So therefore, those people who witnessed it in the Masjid would say he prayed 4 rakats.
Yes.
And Aisha radiallahu anha, because he used to recite at home,
Yes.
that's where she gets her hadith that he used to recite too. So that's the differences they've got.
Jazakallah khair. Yes, so that's one of the points as well. So other Sahaba, it's not that only Aisha radiallahu anha or Hafsa radiallahu anha, as mentioned in these ahadith, who saw it. So yes, in the Masjid, other Sahaba saw something else as well. He prayed every single time. He said, do not sit down until you have prayed the 2 units of prayer, which is called, what's the name for them? For the 2 sunnahs that you walk in the Masjid?
Tahiyatul Masjid.
Tahiyatul Masjid. Right? So he prayed them as well. And to be on the safe side, Hanafi opinion is better. I would say, why? Because the Shafi, Maliki and Hanbali, they never say don't pray more. They never ever say that. So you can't pray 4, you can pray 8. Sunnah, you can pray as many as you like. But we see from the ahadith, that was the norm. But yes, of course, when he was in the masjid, he did pray more as well, of course. Now, so the salawat, the nawafil prayers, there are some which are not from the 5 of the obligatory prayers, but they are still wajib, like
Witr.
which are wajib to pray.
Witr.
No, that's still kind of sunnah. That's still sunnah. Wajib. It's not Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. Which should be the first one? We pray every week. Jum'ah, exactly. Jazakallah khair. That's one. Give me another one. According to Hanbalis, Eid, exactly. Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Duha. So those, according to Hanbalis, that's wajib. So that's another one as well. Now, so Salat al-Tatawwu, which is the non-obligatory prayers, those, like the 10 that we mentioned, those are linked with the obligatory prayers, right? All of the 5 obligatory prayers. And again, like we said, there's a lot of ikhtilaf on that as well. Imam al-Tabari, he says that there are 5 kinds, and I won't go through all 5 of them, there are 5 kinds of voluntary prayers. So, first one, of course, as we just went through as well, the Sunan al-Rawatib. Some Sunnah Mu'akkada, you can say Sunnah al-Rawatib, there's a few different names for that as well. Those are the 10 units, or according to the Hanafis, there's 12 units of those prayers. So, that is one of the 5 different kinds, Imam al-Tabari, he said. Now, okay, let me just say, because there's quite a few of them here. Okay, so as we see from this hadith as well, where does he get the 10 from? رَقَعْتَيْنِ قَبْلَ الظُّهْرِ رَقَعْتَيْنِ بَعْدَهَا. So, in this hadith, we've actually gone through this hadith, in which it's actually mentioned the 2 that رَقَعْتَيْن means 2 before the 2 after, 2 after Maghrib, 2 after Isha, and 2 after Fajr. Okay, that we have gone through. Now,
what about Asr?
None before Asr and none after Asr. After Asr, you're not allowed to pray in Sunnah or not.
So there is no Sunnahs before Asr?
There's no Sunnah. Majority, there's none. Majority, like from the majority of 4 schools of thought, they don't come in the Sunnah Rawatib or Mu'akkada. They don't come into that. But if you want to, you can. You can pray 2, you can pray 4, as many as you want to. That's just optional. Of course, you cast the Tahiyatul Masjid when you come in, but if you want to pray 2 or 4 before Asr, you have the time, you can. But it's not from the Sunnah, the Rawatib. Sorry. Actually, that can even go off. We've got the wrong PowerPoint here. If anyone has any other points, inshallah, you can ask about that, inshallah. Now, Ibn Qudama, he says that the 2 before Fajr are the most important. Even the Sunnah Rawatib, they're not all on the same level. As we see from many ahadith, the benefit of them. Can anyone tell me what's the comparison given for the 2 Sunnah prayers for Fajr? What have they been compared to? Anyone? Yes, Bismillah. Exactly, Jazakumullah khair. So the whole of is the whole dunya and everything that it contains. Those 2 sunnahs are better than them. There's so many benefits that have been given to these 2 sunnahs. So even the sunnahs have different kind of levels as well. Prophet ﷺ said that even if you have an army with horses rushing behind you, do not miss them. It's an Arabic expression, but it shows that it doesn't matter what your circumstances are, how tight your circumstance is, like, do your best to not miss it. Do your best to not miss it. And the Hanafis, of course, they've taken it even on a higher level. What they say that when they come into the masjid, even if the imam is reciting, he's doing the Fajr Salah, and the Jama'ah has stood up, they still say that they pray the Sunnah first. They say that as long as they can catch the Jama'ah, even in Tashahhud, if they can catch it, they say they're going to pray the Sunnah. But we have from other narrations that if the Iqamah has been made, no other prayer is valid. But again, whatever school of thought you follow, go with that one. And that's why it's very important to follow a school of thought and study it, get to know it. So if you do follow that opinion of praying your Sunnah, even if the Jama'ah has started, do your homework. Don't just do it because my dad did it, my granddad did it. No, that's not a reason enough at all. At all. That has no validity at all. So do your homework and see why do you do what you do. Inshallah. Okay? Now, okay, I'm going to skip quite a bit of it because we've got another maybe like 5 minutes. Okay, we've gone through that. Second category, what Ibn Qudama said, is Salatul Witr. So that's a Sunnah prayer as well. Salatul Witr. The timing, who can tell me the timing of Witr? When can you pray? Bismillah, yeah? Jazakumullah khair. Exactly. Now, what if you're traveling and you pray your Maghrib and Isha together? Can you do Witr?
No.
Who wants to repeat that position? What do we normally do? What do you do?
I think you can.
Firozbhai says you can. The brother here says you can't. So, again, there's a lot of ikhtilaf. No one is right. I'm not going to say you're right, you're wrong. I can't say that. But the time that's been given from the time, generally, from the hadith we see, the witr time is from Maghrib time. Not after you prayed Maghrib. From the Maghrib time until, forgive me. I retract that. From Isha until Fajr. That's the time of witr. So the witr should be prayed in the time of Isha. In the time of Isha. So if you're traveling, then if you do your witr, again, do your homework. Guys, please try to find out where do you get that from. Yeah, Bismillah.
So you can combine Isha and Maghrib.
Yes.
So you can bring, if you're late, you can pray Isha.
Yes.
You can pray Maghrib right until Isha time.
Yes, you can.
So then you're already in Isha time.
Exactly.
And then you can pray your witr.
Yes, you can do that.
So
now,
you
who wants to
combine it.
answer that? Can anyone see it? Can you tell me about that? So Firozbhai said, so if you're traveling, then you can take your Maghrib into Isha. So you can pray your Maghrib and Isha. Yes, you're completely allowed to do that. Anyone want to respond to that?
It's great to pray at earliest time.
When you're traveling.
Exactly, yeah, you're traveling. You're right, yes, you can do that. And we do sometimes do that. But you try to pray at an earlier time. You're right, I'm not saying you're wrong. Wallahi, I'm not saying you're wrong. You're right, you can do that. So, even that as well. You're allowed to pray your Maghrib at the time of the Tahajjud. Even. So, according to the majority, that your Isha goes on until Fajr as well. So, you can pray traveling. Maghrib can even be prayed at the Tahajjud time even, Maghrib and Isha, if you combine it, if you travel. Yes, you can. So, that makes it safe for you. You can do that, inshallah. Now, okay. So, witr, what are other similar prayers to witr? There's a family of these night prayers. Give me three. Witr is one.
Duha, sorry.
La duha is the morning one. So the night prayers, there's a family, I did say clearly. So the night prayers, there's a family of them. There's three prayers which fall into this family.
Tahajjud.
Tahajjud, witr, and... No, there's four actually. Tahajjud, witr. Na.
Qiyam.
Say
Qiyam.
that again. Okay, but that doesn't come into this. That's an option. You can. Give me another one. Give me another one. The most common one. Now, istikhara you can do anytime. That's a good try actually. I like that. Istikhara, put it in there, bro. MashaAllah. Give me another common one. Common one that everyone does. Everyone does. You all know it.
Tarawih.
Jazakumullah khair. Exactly. Tarawih. So Tarawih. I was about to say the fourth one. Witr, what else did I say? Tahajjud, and there's one more. Qiyamul Layl. Qiyamul Layl. So these are all from the same family. So Qiyamul Layl, Tahajjud, Witr, and which one did I miss?
Tarawih.
Tarawih. Yeah, Tarawih, Witr, Tahajjud, and Qiyamul Layl. These are the ones. Okay, so we keep forgetting. Now, even though, now look at this, in one narration we see that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he actually called the Tahajjud prayer witr. He told the Sahabas to pray witr when it was a time of Tahajjud. But why did he call Tahajjud? Why did he say that? He was making the point that you should be trying your best to pray the Tahajjud prayer. So he called Tahajjud prayer, he called it witr in one of the narrations. Now, the Shafi'i, Maliki and Hanbali witr is a optional prayer, but from the Hanafis it's a wajib. You cannot miss it. From the Hanafis you can't miss it. And Hanafis they have three. You have to pray three. But we see also that, sorry, I know I'm going to be into fiqh of salah, but you know what? That's what we get out of this chapter. That's what we get. Everyone, whoever speaks about this chapter, they actually have to go through a bit of this. So, like the Shafi'is and Hanbalis, they say that you can pray even one witr, right? That's the minimum you can do. But that's a bare minimum. That's like a bare minimum. We shouldn't be aiming for that. Imam Shankiti, he said that if you keep that as your level, right? That you do sunnahs and you try to do the bare minimum of the sunnahs, it's only a matter of time that you'll just let them go. Because you won't hold the same importance for them as well. And he also said that knowledge, now look at this, take this with you. If anything, take this one thing with you from tonight. He said that knowledge can sometimes be very harmful for you. Did you hear that? Knowledge can be very harmful for you. Why? Because just say, if one of you, some of you brothers or sisters had not heard this until tonight, that you can pray one with her. And now you've heard it, and you start praying one now. You've gone to the bare minimum, lowest level you can go on to. So, ignore me if you possibly can, inshallah. But yeah, that's a bare minimum. Even when you're traveling, you can do 3 years old. That's one of the things we see from some of the narrations as well. It's a bit of a harsh, kind of very, what's the word should I use? Very tough hadith, in which Prophet Muhammad said that those who do not pray with it, they are not from me. SubhanAllah, look at that as well. So witr are very, very, very important. Again, one of the hadith, one of the slaves of Prophet Muhammad Prophet asked him, what do you want? Now guys, look at this. A slave, Prophet Prophet asking him, what do you want? Ask me and you'll get it. Prophet thinking he's going to ask for some booty, he's going to ask for camel, horses, this, that, whatever. But he says, I want to be with you in Jannah. What did Prophet Muhammad say? Now there's a few points from here to take. We'll leave that inshallah. We're going to close that. A few points from here inshallah to take. When he said that, I want to be with you or your neighbor in Jannah, what did Prophet Muhammad say? Can anyone tell me what was his response? Yeah.
Help me with sujood.
Jazakumullah khair. Alhamdulillah, I'm glad you said that. Help me to help you by the sujood. Sujood, increase your sujood. So the point we get from here, Prophet Muhammad does not own Jannah. He does not own Jannah. And this is one of the things that we hear from some Muslims. They say that he is the owner of the two, like Do Jahan Ka Malik. Those who understand Urdu, they understand, right? We hear this. That Prophet Muhammad is the owner of these two worlds. La. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the owner of everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even, you know what subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's even said that if you worship Allah only for the Jannah, what if Jannah was taken away from you? Or there was no Jannah, there was no Jahannam, nothing, would you not worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We gotta worship Him regardless. So, Prophet Muhammad said, if you want to be my neighbor, increase in your sujood. So that's how you come close to Him. And we'll wrap it up here inshallah. If anyone has any questions you can ask inshallah. Otherwise, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to understand this knowledge and try to get the best out of it, not drop onto any lower levels that we are on at the moment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to practice this deen in the best of ways, inshallah, which is going to help us to gain His mercy on that day. Because it's not our deeds, rather the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is going to allow us to get His Jannah, inshallah, which is our eternal home. Jazakallah khair, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.
I will make it. I want to start on the next topic, next chapter, next week. There's maybe 5 pages. I'll rush through next week,
Assalamu alaikum. Hi Mama, you okay?
Yes.